সুপ্রিয় দর্শক সবাইকে স্বাগত জানাচ্ছি টিভিএন 24 টেলিভিশন আয়োজিত নিয়মিত অনুষ্ঠান টিভিএন অ্যানালিসিস। আমি হাবিবুর রহমান আছি আপনাদের সাথে। যারা বাসায় বসে দেখছেন, যারা ফেসবুক লাইভে দেখছেন, যারা পরবর্তীতে ইউটিউবে দেখবেন, আশা করি সবাই ভালো আছেন। আজকের আলোচনা বেশ কয়েকটি বিষয় আমরা আলোচনা করব। আমরা অনেকের কাছে শুনছি যে CDPAP হোম কেয়ার নিয়ে তারা বেশ চিন্তিত, সেটি আলোচনায় থাকবে। ট্যাক্স প্রসঙ্গ থাকবে, এটি PPL-এ চলে যাচ্ছে। আপনি PPL-এ গেলে আপনার কী সমূহ বিপদ আছে কিনা, কীভাবে কী করবেন, সেটিও তো আজকের আলোচনা থাকবে। এবং তার সাথে আজ সন্ধ্যায় আলোচনা হয়েছিল ডোজ ডিভিডেন্ড $5,000, এটি আলোচনা থাকবে। ট্রাম্প ট্যাক্স আলোচনা যেটি হচ্ছে সেটি আমরা বলছি যে ট্রাম্প ট্যাক্স প্রপোজাল, সো সেটিও আলোচনা থাকবে। বেশ কিছু কমবে, কারণ আপনি জানেন 2 বছর আগে 2 years ago উনি ট্যাক্স করেছেন, এখন এটা এক্সপায়ার হচ্ছে 2025-এ, বাট হি ইজ প্রেসিডেন্ট নাও, উইল সি হোয়াট হ্যাপেন্স, সেই ব্যাপারে আলোচনা থাকবে। এই সমস্ত আলোচনার জন্য আজ আমার সাথে স্টুডিওতে আছেন মাইকেল মোতাজিদি। Michael, welcome back again.
Thank you.
Okay, so how do you like this studio?
Much better.
Much better, right? Okay,
Much
good.
better.
We have many questions. I'm going to pose those questions one by one, but what the hell happened to the market today?
Nice big crash, right?
Yeah, I mean, 840 points down by the time it closes. Many people are thinking, what the hell happened?
Right, but everything that Trump is doing, everything that Trump's saying, it's getting impacted into the market, right? So you got inflation going up, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, as the tariffs go up, right, they're going to pass those expenses off to the consumers, which is everybody who's watching right now, right? So you guys are going to end up having higher prices in the supermarket, electronics, everything's just not made here. I mean, if you look at it, very few things are made in the United States.
That is true. That is true. But there are. I mean, I was looking at the new tariff, the 25% universal tariff for any cars,
right,
worldwide. That's going to increase the price of Mercedes and BMWs or Toyotas and Hondas and German cars, right? Every cars. But you do have alternative. You have the Lincoln.
Well,
you have the Cadillac.
Tesla. You got the
Tesla. Yes.
I think Elon Musk's pushing that hard.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So you got Tesla. You got GM. You got Ford. You got some of the biggest car makers in the world, right? But again, what I was trying to say is everything is going to be basically expensive. It's going to be more expensive than what you're paying today.
So I want you to, from finance perspective, I want you to break it down for people, because at the end of the day, we should be prepared and should expect what's coming.
Right. Look, here's where I see like the real issues are going on, right? Everything's going to get more expensive, but the question is, our wages, our salaries, is that going to go up by that 25%? The answer is no.
No. Right. So your income is not going up 25%.
Correct.
By 25%, but your expenses will be.
So what does that mean, everybody? You guys have to start saving, because we don't know what's coming, and when it comes, if you're not prepared, it's going to be too late.
Yeah. So do you see any issues on social safety nets, such as it could be EBT cards or Medicaid or Social Security?
That's it. Look. Everyone who's getting it now, right, it's going to be very important, right? Do I think the thresholds are going to go up? No, I really don't.
Right? Okay, so let's start with our discussion. This was just a preliminary talk so that we prep people what's coming and be aware of this so that you know what's coming and you can get ready. This is just a simple talk to get ready so that you are not shocked, right?
Exactly. No, I think that's like really important.
Correct. I was actually looking at some of the things like egg prices so high, right? Why? And I heard, just like anybody else, that 17 million chickens were bird flu.
Yes, correct. That's why it's $9.
But you know what? I started investigating. Egg prices went up, but chicken price didn't go up. That prompted me to look into this issue.
And it's just like everything else. They'll always raise the price to fix the problem, and those are the new prices.
Correct. So usually what happens when you have egg shortage means you have chicken shortage. But in this case, you have chicken shortage. However, the price didn't go up. So that means people are playing.
Correct.
It's part of it is true that yes, we have shortage, but it's not so much that the price is going to go from $3 to $12. I have more things where I'm working on it. My report is not comprehensive yet, so we'll talk about this.
We're waiting for it.
Yeah, and it's going to be funny, and people will be shocked because we're not ready for this. Okay, I'm going to start with today's discussion. We know we're going to talk about the tax. We are going to talk about how to maximize your benefits and all these things. Let's talk about, because home care, people are really worried.
Yeah, people are worried. They're confused. I know we keep touching on it every time we talk, but people really need to have like a breakdown of like, okay, what am I going to do? What should I do?
Right.
Okay. So, it's just very simple. Let's start with PCA, which is not the one I talked about, basically.
Yeah. So let's talk about that.
Right. So PCA is very important, right? So basically, it is getting a license, right? It's not CDPAP. You're not taking care of somebody you already taken care of, right, in your household. That's not how it works. It is getting like a traditional job, right? You're taking care of someone who does not live with you, right? What does that mean? That means, hey, I can write it off during tax season. So those refunds are going to be down, right? What's the next thing? Medicaid is gone.
I want you to emphasize on this point that what happens if you have PCA and how do you actually lose Medicaid?
Very simple. It's no longer written off, right? So if I make $50,000, $60,000 just from a W-2 and I'm only one person, right? It's going to be a real problem for everybody. You're automatically going to lose it. There's nothing we can do with W-2s. There's not that magic in taxes. It only works for self-employed. This is W-2s. So say one spouse is working, say, home care, right? The other spouse is driving Uber, Lyft, right? When you add those two incomes up, it's over. There's just nothing we can do.
Okay. So what you're saying that if you have a PCA, it's like a regular job.
Exactly.
So you're earning on W-2, pure W-2. You are paying the state tax, local tax, and the federal taxes. And on top of that, if you have a spouse who is working, combine that with that income, you are over $100,000.
Yeah, but just the W-2 alone, that most people have home care, you guys have to look at your W-2s, right? There's like 50s, 60s, right? You're not getting Medicaid with those, right?
Right.
So you got to stay in the CDPAP program, which the new CDPAP is called PPL.
Yeah. So let me explain that to you. যারা আপনারা দেখছেন, আপনি যদি পিসিএতে যান, পিসিএ করেন, হোম কেয়ারের কথা বলছি, পিসিএ করেন, আপনার ইনকাম এত বেড়ে যাবে যে আপনি মেডিকেইডটা আপনার থাকবে না। আপনি যদি মেডিকেইড না থাকে, আপনি কিন্তু সমূহ বিপদে পড়ে যাবেন। আপনাকে অনেক হোম কেয়ারই বলবে, ডোন্ট ওয়ারি, আপনার বাসায় যে আছে ওনারটা আরেকজন করবে, অ্যান্ড সামবডি এলস আপনার বাসাটা করবে। বাট যেটা তারা বলছেন না যে আপনার ইনকাম যে পর্যায়ে যাবে আপনি কিন্তু মেডিকেডটা লুজ করবেন। সো দ্যাটস ওয়ান পার্ট। নাও কাম টু CDPAP. So CDPAP, you just mentioned that CDPAP is nothing, PPL is nothing but a new CDPAP.
That's exactly what it is. It's exactly what I was saying. It's just a new CDPAP, right? But there's a deadline now. You have to actually get it done before March 28th, right? So there's like a bunch of different ways you can do that, right? Either you could do it through the phone, you could do it through the emails you guys have been getting saying, hey, listen, there's a deadline, right? Everyone's been getting them, I've been seeing in my office, right? Then what's the next thing we got to do? We could also do it through the home care. So say it's March Home Care or the home care agency, right? But don't be tricked. Do not do PCA if you're doing CDPAP and taking the tax deduction, okay? It's just a trick going on. So that's the way I'm looking at it.
Okay, so according to Michael, আপনি কোনো মতে পিসিএ করবেন না যদি আপনি CDPAP করছেন এখন। স্টে উইথ CDN, উনি যেটা বললেন যে আপনি চেঞ্জ করতে পারেন CDPAP-এ, PPL-এ, if just stay with CDPAP. কয়েকটি অন স্ক্রিনে আপনি দেওয়া আছে, আপনি ইচ্ছা করলে ফোন করে করতে পারেন তাদের সাথে কথা, অনলাইনে কথা বলতে পারেন, CDPAP ফ্যাসিলিটেটর আছে তাদের সাথে কথা করতে পারেন, অথবা আপনি নিজের রেজিস্ট্রেশন সেশনে যেতে পারেন, তারা করে দিবে চেঞ্জ। ওকে, সো নাও উই আর অন দিস টপিক, লট অফ পিপল আর ওয়ারিড, oh my God, if I was just doing fine with my home care agency, now the PPL, I don't know what kind of beast is this. Am I going to be penalized, meaning am I going to lose hours? I'm doing 25 hours per week now. Is it going to be reduced? That's question one. Question two, I'm making 20 an hour. Is it going to be 17? So am I losing wages? And the third is, and this is a lot of people concerned, is that nurse is going to visit me unannounced anytime. So 3 questions.
Okay, let's start with the first question, which is basically the hours should stay exactly the same. If not, maybe you'll get a little more, right? That should be the same from what I've been hearing, right? The next question was with the dollars are actually supposed to help you, okay? So that's the idea of it. That's why it got switched to this. It was supposed to be someone managing all these home care agencies. So it's saying, oh, these home cares are making all this money, giving you $18 an hour, but giving this guy $21 an hour. Why?
Why?
Right? Most time it was because of that insurance agency got what your insurance pays. I don't know if that's so true.
Okay.
But that's the idea. It's trying to just manage the whole process, right? Then the other problem really is everyone says, oh, but PCA, you get more money. That is true.
That is true.
But we're talking about that much more money.
So it's not much, but it is more.
It's more money per hour.
But it's not like $5 difference or $10 difference.
Maybe $1.
A dollar difference.
But here's the thing: you getting that $17,000 refund every year? It's not $17,000 more.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's the difference. You can't write it off.
I want you to emphasize this part that as a tax preparer, as a CPA, people take that what is it called?
Home care deduction.
Home care deduction. As a result, they don't pay taxes.
As a result, they're getting their withholdings back, right? But that, as I'm trying to say to you, everybody, is basically the amount of money you get as a refund from the home care deduction outweighs a lot more than you would get that little increment from PCA.
Okay, so what are you saying is it's not a whole lot of difference in terms of earning,
Correct.
in terms of hourly rate.
That's correct.
But you are in a danger, two things: no exclusion when you're filing taxes, if you're in PCA, and then your income goes up, you lose Medicaid.
That's correct.
So
I think the second one is the most important.
Most important one. The third one, the visit by the nurses.
Okay, look, that's the other thing I have been hearing, right? That there's going to be a higher reporting requirement. Not the visit, but like logging your hours and stuff like that. But again, if that's an issue, then you shouldn't be doing the home care at all anyways, because it's going to be an issue for everybody.
Okay, I have a serious question here.
Go ahead.
It's Lipi Akhtar. She's saying, my home care agency said they are going to give me a type of form, I don't know what kind of form they're talking about, for tax, and if I do that, I will not lose Medicaid. Can you shed some light?
Probably just a W-4 with the withholdings.
Okay, explain, please.
So look, it doesn't matter. Forget about home care for a second. I started a new job. You have to do what they call a W-4, right? A W-4 is, I'm married, I'm single, I have 2 dependents. How much taxes should you be taking out of my paycheck?
Right.
Right? That's what the tax form's for.
Yeah.
And that's what I think she's talking about.
So how are they going to make the adjustment that you think that she will not be penalized? She will say, what she is trying to say is that even if the income gets higher, she will not lose Medicaid according to that home care agency.
I have to look at it.
You have to look at it.
Like one.
Lipi Akhtar, if I were you, আমি যদি আপনি হতাম, আমি definitely আরো বেশি প্রশ্ন করতাম. I would ask more questions. আপনি যদি আমাদেরকে বলতে পারেন কোন ফর্মের কথা উনি বলছেন, তাহলে অনেক ভালো হতো. But generally speaking, this is a dangerous
it's definitely dangerous
advice.
And also the home care agent that's giving you that advice might not realize, hey, you're not the only one working in your household.
Right. So that tells me, first of all, আপনি লিপি আক্তার এবং লিপি আক্তার মতো anybody else who's in this scenario, first of all, your home care agency is not a financial advisor. The home care agency is also not a CPA.
Correct.
These two things are very, very important. Please explain.
So let's go back to this, right?
Right.
So say you make, let's say you make $40,000, right? But you have a spouse that makes more money too, right? They may only think, hey, you're the only one working. That's it. Well, that's true. You will keep your Medicaid, but if your other spouse is making money, you're going to lose it. So look, everyone should do their own homework. Bring these forms you get or this information to your CPA. That's the best person that can make a decision. Why? They know how many kids you have. They know your history. They've done taxes with you. They know about you. Okay? That's like the most important thing. That's the one person you can rely on.
Right. So Mitushi saying all agencies will provide you a job letter and with to submit with IRS. I'm not sure what it means. Maybe আপনি
That's for the home care deduction.
that's for the home care deduction.
That's normal.
That's not PCA.
No, that's like when IRS says, "Hey, I don't believe you. It's a home care deduction. Prove
That's a
me."
home care deduction. But remember, there are some misconception about. Let's say, for example, with home care, let's say your husband is working, he's making about 50,000. You are doing home care, maybe 1 or 2. Let's say your home care income is about 60,000, give or take. I'm just throwing a number. So when you do, on the surface, it looks like you have $100,000 income.
Correct. But if there's a home care deduction, you only have 50.
Right. So if you have home care, that will be completely taken out from your income. You cannot show that as an income. So if you are planning to buy a house, that's exactly where I was coming.
It doesn't matter.
I want you to explain this.
It doesn't matter. Look, I know I've heard stuff in the past from people, but look, just because you're getting home care deduction doesn't mean you can't write it off. The banks don't care. You get a W-2 and you get a pay stubs, okay? They count the income 100%, right? So that's really important.
Right. So
don't be afraid to write it off. If you're shopping for a house, whatever you're doing, you're entitled to it, and the lenders do not care.
Meaning it's okay.
It's okay. You can write it off.
You could write it off.
Don't think, oh, I'm not going to write it off. I'll amend it later. You don't need to do that. You can write it off, be it just like we normally do. Go get your mortgage, and it's going to work out great.
Okay, so nothing to worry about.
Nothing to worry about.
In that way. Okay, fine. There are some more questions. Aid used to do that the way current CDPAP. Yeah, so she clarified, she's talking about CDPAP. We have more questions, but I have people on the phone. So let's take some calls. কে আছেন ফোনে আমাদের সাথে?
হ্যালো।
হ্যাঁ, আসসালামু আলাইকুম, বলুন।
হ্যালো, আসসালামু আলাইকুম ভাইয়া। আচ্ছা ভাইয়া, আমি আপনার অনুষ্ঠানটা ফলো করি, দেখি, বাট আমরাও চাচ্ছিলাম যে আমরা যারা বাবা মার কাজটা করি এটা যেন বাসায় থাকে, বাট যেই নাম্বারগুলো লিস্টে আছে আমরা ওদের সাথে কন্ট্রাক্ট করলে ঘন্টার পর ঘন্টা লাইনে থাকি, আমরা তো এদেরকে পাচ্ছি না। এখানে কি কোনো বাঙালি বা বাংলাদেশি কোনো প্রতিষ্ঠান কি এই ইয়েতে আছে যে আমরা যোগাযোগ করতে পারি?
ওকে, আপনি কাদের সাথে যোগাযোগ করছেন? পিপিএল নাকি আপনার হোম কেয়ার এজেন্সি?
হোম কেয়ার এজেন্সিতে করছি না, কারণ হোম কেয়ারে আমার কাজটা, বাট ওনারা তো এখন আর ইয়েতে মানে আমি বাসায় কাজটা করতে পারবো এটা নাই, রাইট? তো আমি যে লিস্টটা আমি অনলাইন থেকে পেয়েছি, এই লিস্টটার থেকে নাম্বারগুলোতে আমি যোগাযোগ করার ট্রাই করতেছিলাম, তো এরা তো ফোনই ধরে না ভাইয়া।
ওকে, আচ্ছা, আরেকটা কথা, আপনি কি কোনো টেক্সট বা ইমেল পেয়েছেন তাদের কাছ থেকে?
জি না ভাইয়া, আমি কোনো ইমেল পাইনি।
আপনার যে কেয়ার গিভার, ওই যে হোম কেয়ার এজেন্সিতে যিনি কেয়ার গিভার, তার কোন ফোন নাম্বারটি দেয়া আছে, কোন ইমেল অ্যাড্রেসটি দেয়া আছে, এটি একটু ডাবল চেক করবেন আপনি। ওকে, কারণ কি আপনার বাসায় লেটারও আসেনি কোনো?
জি না ভাই, আমার
আচ্ছা, ঠিক আছে, আমি বেশ কয়েকটি প্রশ্ন জিজ্ঞেস করে নিলাম, কারণ এখন মাইকেল মোতা যদি বল।
আচ্ছা ভাই, আমার আরেকটা কোশ্চেন ছিল। আমার যে কোনো একটা খুব পার্সোনাল দরকারে আপনার সাথে যোগাযোগ করা, আমি অনেক দিন টিভিএনে ফোন করেছি, আপনার সাথে আমি কোনোভাবেই রিচ করতে পারতেছি না।
আমার যিনি ব্যাক অফিসে আছেন, দ্য প্রোডিউসার, উনি আপনার নাম এবং নাম্বারটা নিয়ে নেবেন। হ্যাঁ, আপনি ওনাকে দিয়ে দেন, আমরা যোগাযোগ করবো আপনার সাথে।
প্লিজ ভাই, আমার খুব দরকার, আপনি যদি আমার সাথে একটু যোগাযোগ করেন আমি খুব।
আমি কথা দিলাম যোগাযোগ করব, ঠিক আছে? ওকে, so she had question like this. She's been trying to contact the PPL, but it's taking too long, nobody's responding, and her current home care is not, cooperating.
Right, it's Mark's home care.
Right, so I asked her if she had received any text from whoever is caregiver, or the email in any email.
The Marks did without emails. I know that for a fact.
I know.
So Marks gave some emails, but again, you can call PPL using the phone. You're able to do it online. So there's a lot of stuff we can do. Right. So we can get the answers you need.
All right, Iman has a question. I'm going to go back to the phone again because, but this is an interesting question. My wife and 2 sons under 18 ages now living in Bangladesh. They come in the U.S. for 3 months. My question is, can I apply my family in my tax? Can I have them listed in my taxes as a dependent? I think that's what he meant. Also, am I eligible for child tax credit? Please advise me. Imran, I think you're going to hear some good news.
Well, look. It all depends if they all have socials.
I'm assuming they do.
Right. But again, it has to be, look, there's two different parts of the whole child tax. It's like, okay, how much support have you give, how long they've lived with you, right? Can you listen to dependents? Sure, right? But it also, I have to sit with you and I have to ask you a bazillion questions to actually get down to exactly will they qualify for the child tax, right? Because if the wife lives Bangladesh, not with you in the States, you know, it's a sticky situation. So I really would have to sit with you, ask you at least 10 questions, and then I probably get to the answer.
ওকে সো এইরকম সিচুয়েশনে যারা আছেন ইন দিস কাইন্ড অফ সিনারিও আপনার ইয়োর ওয়াইফ অর কিডস যারা আছেন তারা আসেন 2-3 মাস থাকেন বা 6 মাস থাকেন চলে যান and then Bangladesh again, then come back again. You need a little more information.
Correct.
And you need to see a good CPA. Trust me, situation is tricky.
It is tricky. There's a lot of different rules that say, okay, I got this, this, and this. So I'm sure it's going to work perfectly, but I still just need a little more.
So Mukta Joshim responded to some of the question about the last call we had. Mukta Joshim, আপনাকে অসংখ্য ধন্যবাদ. He said, call them again. They have Bengali translator. That is true. That is very true. Okay, let's take another call.
Sure.
All right, কে আছেন আমাদের সাথে?
আসসালামু আলাইকুম।
ওয়ালাইকুম সালাম, বলুন।
জি, আমার নাম আব্দুর রফিক। আমি আপনার অনুষ্ঠানে নিয়মিত প্রশ্ন করি।
জি জি।
আমার একটা দুঃখ সিডিপ্যাপ নিয়ে, যে সিডিপ্যাপটা পিপিএল এর কাছে চলে গেছে।
জি।
সেই পিপিএল এর 24 জন আছে আপনার এজেন্ট। দুঃখের বিষয় আমরা পত্রিকায় দেখি এখন বাঙালি ওই 24 জনের বিভিন্ন এজেন্টের 24 জনের এজেন্টের বাঙালি আছে। অথচ দুঃখের বিষয় আপনারা পিপিএল অথবা 24 জন ফ্যাসিলিটি হলো একটা লোকরা আপনার এক পর্যন্ত টক সাথে আনেন নাই যাদের কাছে রিয়েল জিনিসটা জানা যাবে।
ওকে, আমার মনে হয় আপনার কথাটি সঠিক নয়। আমি একটু আপনার যোগ করি। হ্যাঁ, কিছুদিন আগে মেবি 3 weeks or 4 weeks আগে, আমি লিঙ্কটি আজকের অনুষ্ঠানে দেওয়ার চেষ্টা করবো না, আমি একটি প্রতিবেদন করেছিলাম যেখানে হোম কেয়ারের ওনার যারা আছেন সিইও তাদের সাথে কথা হয়েছিল, সেই সাক্ষাৎকারটি আছে। এবং তাদের অনেকেই আমাদের এখানে আসেন বিভিন্ন সময়ে, অনেক ট্যাক্স অনুষ্ঠানে আসেন, যার কারণে হয়তো বলেন না যে উনি তার হোম কেয়ারের ব্যবসাটি আছে, কারণ অন্য একটি ব্যবসা, কিন্তু আসেন। কিন্তু আপনার প্রশ্নটি আমি বুঝিনি। আপনি বলছেন যে তাদেরকে আমরা ইচ্ছাকৃতভাবে আনি না। যদি সেটা বলে থাকেন কথাটি সঠিক না, কিন্তু আমি প্রমিস করলাম আপনাকে যে আমার মনে হয় আপনি সঠিক বলেছেন। এই সময়ের নিরিখে একজনকে নিয়ে আসার প্রয়োজন। আমি চেষ্টা করবো আগামী সপ্তাহে রাখার। আপনাকে অসংখ্য ধন্যবাদ। ওকে, সো I'm going to go to I was going to talk about something else, but let's take 1 or 2 questions.
Go ahead.
All right. So it says আমি পিপিএল এর সব নাম্বারগুলো পেয়েছি, কিন্তু বাংলা নাম্বারটা ঘন্টার পর ঘন্টা লাইনে থাকতে হয়, ইংরেজি নাম্বারেও থাকতে হয়, যা খুবই বিরক্তিকর। Basically what he's saying that he has all the numbers for PPL, but the Bangla number, the one that connects to the Bangla language, takes longer. Even it's true for the number you call for English. It's very, very frustrating. What do you suggest?
I mean, look, I think the best thing you guys can do is actually use the online service or the email.
Yeah.
I think that's your best bet. Yeah. I mean, at least it's gonna, you don't have to stay online forever, right? Yeah. But to get those answers, you know, look, as we get closer to March, we're gonna have better information. We're gonna see a lot of people doing this, and actually see exactly what's gonna happen.
Yeah, March is only.
Look, March 28th is the deadline, right? So I would say by March 10th, March 15th, we'll know exactly what's going on.
Yeah. So what you're saying that still there's some clarity we need.
There's definitely going to be clarity. I'm sure people are trying to figure out how can we do the home care deduction with PCA. I'm sure they're going to try everything because there's a lot of business being left.
All right. So Erin Hassan Sua actually shared a YouTube video. I think this is how you sign up, but I think we're going to have more clarity, as you said.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying
too.
Have
more information, but I agree with you when you said email probably is one of the best.
Email's the best. It always has been the best.
You know, is one of the. If I stay with CDPAP, do I get a tax waves? Please let me know. It's funny.
If you've always qualified for it, you get it.
Yes,
it's that simple.
Okay, so we talked about many things. I'm going to have to touch some of those.
Okay.
All right, so let's talk about briefly tax dividend from Elon Musk. Elon is saying, President Trump also said that there is a possibility for taxpayer to get a dividend of $5,000.
Right.
What is it? Who gets it? Who doesn't get it? Let's stay with that.
Let's stick with this. So right now on the table, they're saying that, hey, we're going to get $5,000, right?
Right.
Right? But obviously there's a little caveat. Why are we getting $5,000? What are we doing here? By them laying off everybody, shrinking the budgets, and basically saving an insane amount of money that they
waste and fraud
Correct.
and whatnot.
Exactly. Right? That there's all this money left over now, right? What are they going to do with it? They're saying, hey, I'm going to take 20% of this. I'm going to pay down the budget deficit, which we need anyways.
Yeah.
But that, right? We need that anyways, right? Then they're saying, I'm going to take 20% of that, right? And I'm going to give it to the taxpayers. But which taxpayers are getting this, that they say?
That's a $1 million question.
Right.
Who gets it?
Exactly. They're saying anyone who's paying federal tax. Why is that a problem? If your income is below your standard deduction, you're not paying any taxes. And that means, according to what they're saying, you don't qualify.
Yeah.
Then they said, hey, there has to be a working household. We don't know. Does that mean both people have to work? We're not sure, right? Now, the one I don't like and the one I've been seeing is, hey, you have to be able to, you have to show you have to be able to, that you're a saver, not a spender, which we have no idea what that means.
Yeah. It's very vague. What does that mean, saver? Saver, save $5 or save
that basically,
from
what I read, they say, okay, you have to be able to be, you're going to take this $5,000 and you're going to put it in your savings account, and not touch it. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, that's like daddy giving to son and saying, hey.
But how are you going to prove you're a saver versus a spender?
Exactly. And why, if you're giving it to me, I'm entitled to do what I want to do.
Right. So what they're also, why are they doing this?
Right.
This is the other thing.
Okay.
They are doing this to get more people in the workforce, right? They're assuming, hey, everyone wants this $5,000, right?
Correct.
So they're going to go get jobs in 2025.
Yeah.
Because this dividend is supposed to be in 2026, right? So everyone's going to go get jobs to get this $5,000.
Correct.
That's what they're after.
Right. So they want
more people into the labor market.
Motivate you, and
to get into the labor market.
Right, get into the labor market so that you work.
That's correct.
Yeah, and if you work, you get off of the social services and pay more taxes for the government.
Basically, what they're trying to do is actually exactly what you said. They're actually trying to make you work so they get more money for the IRS for taxes and everything else.
Okay, so one question I'm going to take for PPL and CDL before we move on. Shiny Pearl, screen name. Sounds weird. Shiny Pearl. Vegas names. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm getting carried away. Okay, what is the difference between CDPAP and PPL? I am a PA worker for my dad. So
So look,
yeah.
If you're a PA worker for your dad, you live together, you get the home care deduction today, you're just going to stay in PPL, which is CDPAP is moving into PPL. It's a new CDPAP. That's your best thing you could do.
So that's your answer for Shiny Pearl?
Yes, for Shiny Pearl, correct. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I haven't changed my answer.
Why do I feel like I'm wearing an orange jacket and a hat?
If you have orange
And a white
but
shoes.
if you have orange hair, you might be president.
Okay, so sorry, look it up. Bad joke. Okay, let's talk about Trump tax proposal. Okay, you can start with the 2017 tax overhaul, and then we can.
Right. So look, all the stuff we got this year, the year before, right? That's the 2017 tax overhaul, right? What Trump is saying is, hey, I'm going to try to extend this thing. If I can't extend it, I'm going to make it even better, right? So obviously, all the good tax credits we get now for businesses, either if you're a driver, any self-employment, that's who benefit the most from this. Business owners, let's call it what it is, right?
Yeah.
He's also talking about, hey, let me increase the child tax credit.
Correct.
Which would be great, right? We don't know how much.
We don't know. Yes.
Okay. But the other two things I've been seeing is, which I think is actually the most important, is that gift exemption, right? Yeah. So right now, if you have two people, you're married, right?
Correct.
Each person can give $14 million each, right? $28 million lifetime.
Okay.
That's your lifetime cap, right?
Oh, the lifetime.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So what I think is important, you know, because look, there's a lot of generation wealth being built right now.
True.
But if it goes back to 7, it could have an impact, right?
Possible.
Right.
Very much.
So look, that's really important. On top of it, you know, you have the SALT cap, right? We all heard about SALT cap. So what is that? What's a SALT cap, right? It's, hey, it's part of your itemization, okay? Instead of taking the standard deduction, right, you get the $29,200, you can get even more, right? But that makes up from all of Schedule A, which is your itemized deduction, right? You got the SALT cap, as we talk about. SALT cap means property taxes, the taxes you withheld, and the state taxes you withheld, right?
Right.
But right now you're limited to $10,000. So if my mortgage, you know, say my real estate taxes are, say, $20,000, right? I still can only get up to 10.
Right.
Right? So I'm limited. It does nothing right now for everybody.
10,000.
It's
really
horrible. I just told you had to reach 29,000.
I was so angry when I heard this because that's one of the biggest.
Most people for their whole life who own houses used to itemize.
Yeah.
Now,
absolutely.
Now it can't. It's very hard to do.
Right.
Unless you have massive medical bills, right? Or massive amount of charity, right? That's the only way you're going to get there.
I heard Trump is going to do something about the
He's talking about either
I
totally removing it.
Totally removing.
That would be a dream.
Yeah.
Or he's going to at least raise it. Maybe it's 40,000. I don't know.
Something's got to give.
Something's going somewhere, right? And the reason he's doing that is, look, blue states have higher property taxes.
Yeah.
It's just the way the world is, right? So it benefited everybody else, right? It didn't, right? It didn't matter, right? And then you also have what also is really important. He's talking about eliminating taxes on Social Security, right? So that's really important. Why? Because right now, if you make too much money, you could have your Social Security 85% taxed. Depending. Right now. So if you're taking too much from the market, right? You're about to retire. You're taking money out. You got to live, right?
Which I find it very unfair. I paid taxes. I put in my dues. Now I'm collecting, and you're taxing me 85%.
Because if you just took your Social Security, I have no other income, I'm not taxed.
Yeah, true.
Right? But say I have to withdraw money from the market to pay my bills to live. Right? Now that's where I agree with you. It's unfair.
Yeah. So if you have any other income, then you pay 85% taxes.
I mean, there's thresholds, but yes.
Okay. So Me Too is saying Mark's Home Care will not help me. I should not have mentioned the name. My home care will not help my aides transitioning with PPL because they want to keep everybody or every patient with the PCA.
Find a new home care.
Yeah. So Me Too, just like anybody else, we have to after একটা জিনিস বুঝতে হবে. We are here to help you. We don't care other businesses. I know businesses have to stay on top, and to stay on top, they have to be profitable. I agree, but not at your expense. Not at your expense. Meaning, আপনি এটার জন্য দায়বদ্ধতা নিতে পারেন না. You will do what is good for you. We are here to help you.
Exactly.
Okay.
Also bringing back up March, we're doing taxes.
Yeah.
So let's talk about March is giving out 2 W2s, okay, this year. I want everyone to be careful, right? You got it, and listen, whoever you're going to do your taxes, make sure they realize it's 2 separate ones and that they're looking at the EINs. We caught that this year, so.
Yeah, so I want you to take your time because this is an important aspect of the tax filing season going on. Let's start.
This is more for the people who are preparing the taxes than it is for the people.
So Mark is giving 2 pieces of papers.
2 W2s.
Why?
Okay, so I guess it's either the overtime or something they're separating out, right?
Okay.
But they're 2 separate. The 2 W2s are 2 separate companies. Okay, if the person who's doing your taxes just plugging in the same EIN for both of them, you're going to have a problem with the IRS. It's not going to match.
Okay, but that's people.
I'm trying to help people who actually prepare the taxes.
Come to you,
then we have no problems.
Right. So they come to Michael Mutazadi or somebody who's qualified. Then it's
I hope I'm just hoping everybody else is actually watching.
Doesn't matter.
I want to be sure they're watching.
Yeah.
Okay.
Michael Mutazadi brought in a very good point. Mark is giving you 2
W2s.
W2s.
One says Mark's Home Care. That one says Mark's CDPAP. Mark's Home Care CDPAP.
Right. So
just be careful.
Know how to handle this. This is the most important part. Okay. One last part, and then I'm going to go into a different topic, which is how to maximize your tax this year. But before we go there, tariff. I know it's not tax related, but we touched on it a little.
Correct.
Bit. How does it impact everyday people? As an advisor,
look, as I said before, I think savings and realizing what we know, what the economy was and what it is today and where it's going to be in the future is not going to be the same, right? Since COVID, we've always had a lot more money in our pockets, right? We had the SBA loans, we had all the stimulus, we had everything else, right?
Right.
But I want people to be prepared. If they're going to start doing these tariffs, right? Everything's going to be more expensive. There's very few products actually made in America.
Maybe 15%, 10%, or 100%. If that.
I bet you nothing I'm wearing is made in America.
Very much possible.
Okay? It's made in Bangladesh.
Most likely. That is true. That's the reality.
And that's a hard truth. So I want everyone to be prepared.
Right.
Right? I want everyone to say, okay, I don't need to buy this, right? I want to, make sure my family's in good shape. So we have to make those hard choices now.
Yeah, want versus need.
That's correct.
All right. So, okay, so since you said that, so tariff is going to have an impact one way or the other. We just have to be wise enough.
Correct.
So that we can actually make some adjustment.
Look, for the self-employed people, right, I'm sure everyone's seen this year, Uber and Lyft's commissions are up, right? I mean, the same thing's going to come for all products that you put in your car, basically. As most people have Toyotas or Hondas or some other thing, right? Now, remember, now the parts are more expensive, not just the car.
Yeah, anything you import.
Right? Exactly. So, I need a new door, I need a new window. That price just went up 25% too.
Right.
So that's going to impact.
Right. So this year, what Michael is saying, if you need something, you need something. But if you want something and that want can wait, then you need to be wise.
Correct, because here's the thing. These companies aren't going to just suck up 25%, right?
No,
they're going to just increase their prices to 25% more.
Correct. Now, one last topic, and that's I think this is where if I were you, I would take time and explain, because there are many categories. How should people, one category, maximize your benefit tax return? All
right, on tax returns, look, I'm talking about all the Uber drivers, all Lyft drivers, taxi, right? Remember, the interest for the SBA interest, you want to deduct, right? Absolutely, right? Another thing that people don't realize is, hey, if I have a car loan, right? That interest is also tax deductible. Or, hey, I bought a new car last year. The sales tax is deductible, and that's a big number, okay?
Right, that is a big number.
Big number, especially in New York.
Right. So there was a question, they don't pick up call, PPL. তাহমিনা বেগম, আপনাকে অসংখ্য ধন্যবাদ। আপনি বলেছেন যে call them early morning, 9-10 o'clock. This is reminding me the time of pandemic. When you had to call the labor department, you had to
that was impossible.
That's right. It all was so yeah, 9টা বা 10টা in the morning is the best time. Somebody will pick up. Good advice, Amina Begum. Thank you. আপনাকে অসংখ্য ধন্যবাদ। Now, before we end, there are people who are this news that IRS is has laid off, and you updated me a little bit earlier than this program was started, that the 6,700 people lost their job.
So these people were on probationary period, right? But this is going back to this $5,000 we're talking about. Where's this money going to come from, right? Is from laying federal workers off. Honestly, most of the money's coming from that. Okay?
Okay, so
that's been that, but again, how is it going to impact tax season? We don't know.
Right.
That's going to be your next question.
Have you seen anything?
No, actually, believe it or not, IRS has actually been faster this year.
The fastest.
It's crazy.
Okay, so you lost 6,700 people. We don't know what they were doing. But I was expecting there'll be a grinding halt.
I haven't seen it. But again, the layoffs just happened today.
Right.
Okay, so we don't know. Right? But again, if there's an issue with your tax return or they need more information, this will delay it.
Okay, so Shati Sultana, this is outside of our scope of discussion. Apni jante chahen, can you please provide me PPL CDPAP agency list who will work with HRA and CASA?
Best thing is to call HRA.
Yeah, so call HRA. Apni definitely HRA, just Google the number and apni পেয়ে যাবেন, call them and they will give you a list. That is, এটাই হবে সবচেয়ে authentic way doing it. Especially don't take it from somebody else. We are towards that. Yes.
The Jackson Heights.
Oh, yeah. So Michael brought something I really usually don't share. So, but Michael Motazedi is CPA and approved by New York State. Now, there is an agency, it's called Michael Tax Services in Jackson Heights. So, anybody আপনারা যদি Michael Motazediর কাছে যেতে চান, his office is in Jamaica, not in Jackson Heights. Just do a Google Michael Motazedi CPA, আপনারা পেয়ে যাবেন। So, I know আপনারা যারা দেখছেন মাইকেল মোতাজেদি আমার কাছে কমপ্লেন করেছে, অনেকেই তার কাছে আসছেন যে আমি তোমার জ্যাকসন হাইটের অফিসে গিয়েছিলাম, বাট উনার জ্যাকসন হাইটে কোনো অফিস নেই, উনার একটি মাত্র অফিস, সেটি হচ্ছে জামাইকাতে। আর যারা সার্চ করবেন গুগলে সার্চ করে নেবেন মাইকেল মোতাজেদি সিপিএ and you will find it. He does not have any office in Jackson Heights. Unfortunately, these things happens. এটা হয়, কিছু করার নেই। আমি আপনাদেরকে জানিয়ে রাখলাম, যদি তার কাছে যেতে চান, do a Google search. His office is in Jamaica on Hillside, so you can't miss that. Anything else you want to share?
Look, I think everyone needs to make sure you have all the paperwork for tax season, right? We had to do quite a few amendments already. Right. We spoke about the Uber and Lyft settlements. Those are taxable.
Correct.
I mean, in my office, we have all the EINs, so you just have to tell us how much you got. That's easy, right? But again, all the business owners, all the self-employed people, listen, think about expenses that you don't normally think about, right? You're going to see a huge tax savings. And look, maybe it makes sense to go through your bank statements, credit cards, before you either come see, myself or another tax professional. I think there's a lot of stuff we can write off.
Yeah, so definitely.
People just don't think about it.
Right. So MD Hossein, আপনি বলছেন যে layoff causing refund delays, not according to Michael Motazedi. উনি বলছেন যে উনি যতগুলো হ্যান্ডেল করেছেন এই বছর faster than any other times.
It's actually a little shocking. I don't understand.
But it is. This is the experience he has for this year.
Again, it's just started tax season, right? The only thing, the people who've been delayed are the ones that got the earned income credits.
Correct. Mike, let's say goodbye to everybody.
Of course.
I'll see you next time around. দর্শক আপনারা যারা অনুষ্ঠানটি দেখছিলেন এতক্ষণ, আশা করি অনুষ্ঠানটি ভালো লেগেছে। যদি এখানে এমন ইনফরমেশন থাকে যেটি অন্য কারো কাজে লাগতে পারে, শেয়ার করতে ভুলবেন না তাদের সাথে। যেখানে থাকবেন ভালো থাকবেন, সুস্থ থাকবেন, নিরাপদে থাকবেন। দেখা হবে পরবর্তী অনুষ্ঠানে। শুভরাত্রি।
TBN 24 টেলিভিশন দেখতে আজই কল করুন 7187776556। লগ ইন করুন www.totalcablebd.com।
নিউ ইয়র্ক থেকে সম্প্রচারিত TBN 24 টেলিভিশন বিশ্বজুড়ে বাঙালির কণ্ঠস্বর।